What kind of creature dares to live where the air itself forgets to breathe? Where the clouds scrape stone and the sky begins to whisper? Up here, on the roof of the world, the Himalayas are more than mountains. They're temples of wind and silence, carved by gods, guarded by wings. Every ridge, every glacier, every shadowed valley holds a spirit, and some of them still fly. From the rainbow shimmer of the Himalayan Monal to the bone-breaking majesty of the bearded vulture. From the ghost-white snow pigeon to the fire-tailed songbird that burns against the cold. Each carries a legend older than language itself. These are not just birds. They are the echoes of myths, the keepers of altitude, the living breath of a place where man meets miracle. So if you've ever wondered what flies between heaven and earth, listen close. Because on these peaks, wings don't just beat, they pray. This is Himalayan Spirits, 20 mythical birds of the world's highest peaks. And our journey begins where the sky is thin and the stories never die. What if I told you that the most dazzling bird of the Himalayas lives in a place where color shouldn't even exist? Up here, where snow swallows light and the wind scrapes rock bare, you suddenly catch a flash. Blue, green, orange, copper. And boom, there it is. The Himalayan Monal, the walking rainbow of the roof of the world. This bird doesn't just stand out, it owns the spotlight. Males shimmer like disco balls under thin sunlight, while females wear soft brown camouflage. Practical, patient, quietly in charge. Because while he's busy showing off, she's the one making sure the species survives. Typical. The Monal's feathers are built like prisms. Each one bends light at a slightly different angle. So when he moves, his colors shift like northern lights on wings. And up here, at 12,000 feet, that's not fashion. It's defiance. He's saying, yeah, I live in a blizzard. Doesn't mean I can't look fabulous. Fun fact number 1, the Himalayan Monal is Nepal's national bird, and locals call it Damfi, meaning the bird of divine beauty. Fun fact number 2, its feathers were once so prized that wearing them was a royal privilege, literally color reserved for kings. Now here's where it gets poetic. When snow melts, Monals come down the slopes, foraging for roots and insects among blooming rhododendrons. And when the storms return, they vanish again. Rainbows retreating back into the clouds. No wonder people here believe the Monal carries the spirit of the mountain. Briefly visible, eternally sacred. But here's the debate. Is he showing off because he's proud of survival? Or just vain as hell? Because honestly, this bird's confidence could power an entire fashion week. So tell me, if you lived in a world of ice and silence, would you blend in like the snow? Or shine so bright the gods themselves had to look twice? You ever see something so calm, so pure, that it feels almost unreal? That's the snow pigeon, the quiet spirit of the Himalayas. While eagles roar across the sky and vultures dominate the cliffs, this little bird just glides, soft, gray-white, peaceful, like a prayer in motion. And here's the crazy part. It lives in the same brutal landscape as all the heavyweights. Thin air, bitter wind, temperatures that can turn breath into ice. But instead of brute strength, the snow pigeon wins with grace. It builds its nest among rocks, deep in mountain caves, and moves in flocks that flow like drifting snow. Blink, and you'd swear the mountain itself just took flight. When they land, they blend perfectly with the stone and frost, a living echo of the peaks they call home. They don't fight the mountain, they become it. Maybe that's why locals call them messengers of peace. The souls of travelers who never came back, returned as birds to rest on the snow. Fun fact number 1, snow pigeons can survive at altitudes above 16,000 feet. That's higher than some airplanes cruise. Fun fact number 2, they're known to share nesting cliffs with birds of prey like eagles and vultures. Literally living next door to danger and just vibing. It's that strange mix of fragility and fearlessness that makes them special. They don't dominate, they coexist. In a world of survival and storms, that's its own kind of strength. But here's a thought. Maybe the snow pigeon isn't just a bird. Maybe it's a reminder that not every survivor roars. Some just keep flying quietly through the cold. So what do you think? Is peace the sign of weakness or the highest form of power? Because in the Himalayas, even silence can have wings. Some birds live in trees, some rule the sky, and then there's the ibisbill, the bird that walks on water like it owns the place. Hidden among the icy rivers at the foot of the Himalayas, this long-legged silver-gray wanderer moves through the stone so perfectly you could mistake it for a shadow, until the light hits that blood-red curved bill, and suddenly the river looks alive. Local monks call it the river god's messenger, and honestly, it fits. The ibisbill never rushes. It steps slowly, deliberately, its reflection gliding alongside like a ghost in glass. When it calls, the sound is low, haunting, echoing across valleys that haven't heard another voice in weeks. But make no mistake, this calm little monk has serious survival skills. While other birds migrate to escape the cold, the ibisbill stays. It digs its nest in the middle of rocky riverbeds, barely above freezing water. When snowmelt floods the valley, it just moves a few meters higher, never leaving the temple of its gods, the rivers. Fun fact number 1, the ibisbill is the only species in its entire genus. A bird so unique, it's got no close relatives left on Earth. Fun fact number 2, its curved bill isn't for show. It's perfectly shaped to probe under pebbles and snatch insects, like a living pair of chopsticks made by evolution. And here's where the myth hits reality. In Tibetan folklore, it's said that the ibisbill guides lost souls across the river between worlds, a ferryman in feathers, a calm, eternal traveler between life and sky. But let's be real for a second. Would you have the guts to nest in the middle of a freezing river, guarding your eggs while glaciers melt around you? That's not peace. That's courage in slow motion. So tell me, is the ibisbill wise because it moves with stillness, or strong because it refuses to run? Maybe that's the secret of the Himalayas. Not every warrior charges into battle. Some just stand in the river and let the world move around them. What kind of bird decides to live on vertical cliffs where even gravity gives up? Meet the wall creeper, the little miracle that turned rock walls into dance floors. At first glance, it doesn't look like much. Gray, small, quiet. Then it opens its wings and suddenly, bam! Crimson flashes ripple like a living flame against the stone. 1 second it's a shadow, the next it's a butterfly carved from fire. That's why locals call it the butterfly of stone. It doesn't just fly, it floats. One wing beat, then it glides upward, sideways, backward, clinging to cliffs with claws that grip the tiniest cracks. Think Spider-Man, but with feathers and better balance. Now most birds pick trees or open skies. The wall creeper picked the impossible. It spends its life chasing insects across sheer rock faces at 10,000 feet, where the wind howls, the cold bites, and the only other thing moving is the echo of your heartbeat. Fun fact number 1, wall creepers have specially curved claws and flexible toes that act like mountain climbing gear. Built for cliffs no other bird dares to touch. Fun fact number 2, they can change their flight style depending on terrain. Part hummingbird precision, part swallow speed, a kind of aerial jazz improvisation. But here's what's wild. The wall creeper isn't loud, flashy, or famous. It's a ghost dancer, painting color where no color should exist. Every wing beat feels like defiance against gravity itself. And if you think that's poetic, mountaineers often claim that seeing one mid-climb is a sign of good luck. A reminder from the mountain. Beauty doesn't need comfort, it just needs courage. So here's the question. If you could live anywhere, would you pick the safe valley below, or the cliff where every step risks falling, but every view feels like flight? Because the wall creeper doesn't conquer the mountain, it dances with it. And honestly, that might be the purest kind of freedom there is. You ever look up at a mountain peak and wonder what rules the air above it? Up there, where even the wind has teeth, there's one bird that owns the sky. The golden eagle, the undisputed monarch of the high Himalayas. This isn't just a bird, it's a living storm. 7-foot wingspan, talons sharper than knives, and eyes so powerful they can spot a rabbit 2 miles away. Imagine being that focused. Meanwhile, you can't even find your car keys. The golden eagle doesn't fly, it commands. It rides invisible waves of air, circling above cliffs and snow ridges, waiting for that one perfect moment to strike. Then, lightning. One dive, one hit, and the mountain goes silent again. It's no wonder ancient cultures called it the eye of the gods. Nomads saw it as a messenger between earth and heaven, and in the Himalayas, its shadow alone was said to bless travelers. You don't see it often, but when you do, you feel it. That raw, ancient energy that says, "This is my sky." You're just visiting fun fact number 1. Golden eagles can reach speeds of 150 miles per hour in a dive, faster than a sports car falling off a cliff. Fun fact number 2, their nest, called eyries, can be over 6 feet wide and reused for decades. Mountaintop mansions, passed down like royal estates. But here's the twist. Even kings bow to nature. When storms roll in, the eagle doesn't fight the wind. It turns, spreads its wings, and uses the chaos to rise higher. Power through surrender, control through trust. So tell me, if life hit you with a storm, would you fight the wind or learn to ride it? Because maybe that's what true royalty looks like. Not ruling by force, but by understanding the storm better than anyone else. And when the snow settles, the golden eagle is still up there, crowned in sunlight, waiting for the next gust to lift it even higher. Now, if the golden eagle is the king of the sky, then the Himalayan griffin is the ghost that follows him. It doesn't hunt, it waits, patient, silent, floating like a shadow made of bone and air. You see it above the glaciers, huge pale wings stretched nearly 10 feet wide, riding the wind like it was born from it. And it was. This bird lives at altitudes so high, even helicopters struggle to stay aloft. Up there, the air is thin, the world quiet, and death is never far away, which is exactly where the griffin feels most at home. Because this bird feeds on what others leave behind. It doesn't kill, it cleans. It takes the remains of what the mountains claim and gives them back to the sky. In Tibetan culture, it's sacred. During sky burials, monks leave the bodies of the dead for griffins to consume. A final act of returning flesh to the cycle of life. To them, the griffin isn't a scavenger, it's a messenger, carrying the soul upward. Fun fact number 1, the Himalayan griffin can soar for hours without a single flap, using only the heat of rising air currents from the valleys below. Fun fact number 2, its stomach acids are so powerful they can dissolve bones, literally recycling death into energy. It sounds grim, right? But think about it. Where humans see decay, the griffin sees renewal. While we run from death, it keeps the mountains alive. That's not horror, that's harmony. Here's the twist. In a place where life is fragile, the griffin proves that even endings can be sacred beginnings. It's not a vulture of death, it's a guardian of balance. So tell me, if you had the choice to erase the ugly parts of the world, would you? Or would you, like the griffin, accept them and turn them into something holy? Because sometimes the things that scare us most are the ones that keep the world pure. And high above the Himalayas, the griffin still circles, massive, eternal, carrying silence on its wings. If the Himalayan griffin is the spirit of the wind, then the sinuous vulture is the shadow that walks beside it, silent, solemn, and cloaked in black. The locals call it the Black Monk, and honestly, it fits. There's something sacred about the way it moves. Slow, deliberate, like every wing beat is a prayer. You'll find it circling above the snowline, where even echoes sound lonely. Its dark wings slice through the thin, freezing air, a stark silhouette against the white Himalayas, like ink spilled across a scroll of snow. Unlike the loud scavengers of the lowlands, this one doesn't fight for scraps. It waits, patient, stoic, almost monk-like. When the time comes, it descends quietly. No frenzy, no chaos, just quiet purpose. Because up here, even death deserves dignity. Fun fact number 1, the cinereous vulture is one of the largest flying birds on Earth, with a wingspan that can reach 10 feet. Fun fact number 2, its scientific name, Aegyptius monicus, literally means the Black Monk. A title earned not just for its color, but for its calm, solemn nature. There's something almost philosophical about this bird. It doesn't chase glory or speed. It doesn't sparkle or sing. It endures. And in the Himalayas, that's the ultimate act of devotion. Maybe that's why monks here believe it embodies balance. A creature that lives from death, yet gives life back to the land. It doesn't take too much. It doesn't waste. It simply continues the cycle, without guilt or pride. But here's the twist. In a world obsessed with noise and flash, the Black Monk survives by silence. It reminds us that not all strength shouts. Some strength just is. So tell me, if the world went quiet tomorrow, could you live like the vulture? Anchored, patient, unbothered by time? Because up here in the shadow of the Himalayas, silence isn't emptiness. It's wisdom with wings. Some birds eat seeds, some eat flesh, and then there's one that eats bones. Yeah, bones. Meet the lammergeier, the bearded vulture, the only bird on Earth that turns skeletons into dinner. You see it soaring across the Himalayas like a crimson flame, black wings, orange chest, and those fierce red eyes that look like they've seen everything. It doesn't kill, it waits. It finds carcasses left by snow leopards and wolves, snatches up the bones, then flies thousands of feet into the air and drops them onto the rocks below. Smash. Dinner's served. That's not savagery, that's strategy. And in a world where nothing goes to waste, this bird is the final cleaner in the cycle of life. Fun fact number 1, nearly 80% of a lammergeier's diet is bone, the highest of any creature on Earth. Its stomach acid is so strong, it can dissolve bone in under 24 hours. Fun fact number 2, that fiery orange plumage, it's not natural. They bathe in iron-rich dust to stain their feathers. Scientists think it's for camouflage or dominance, but honestly, it feels more like art. The bird literally paints itself in the color of blood and earth. No wonder locals call it the bone breaker of the gods. In Tibetan myth, it's said the lammergeier guards the gates between life and afterlife, a winged monk ensuring that every spirit returns to dust. Even its flight feels otherworldly, slow, heavy, and ancient, as if the mountain winds obey its will. But here's the twist. For all its terrifying reputation, this bird never kills. It feeds only on what's already gone. In a sense, it's not a symbol of death, but of mercy. So here's your thought for the climb. When the world sees something as monstrous, could it just be misunderstood? Maybe the Lammergeier isn't a villain at all. Maybe it's the last saint of the mountains. Cleansing, not consuming, turning death into silence, and silence back into sky. What kind of creature dares to wear red in a world made of white? Meet the blood pheasant, a bird so striking it looks like someone spilled color across the snow and it came alive. Up here, where winter never ends and silence sits heavy, this small, round-bodied bird darts through the icy rhododendrons like a heartbeat against the cold. Its feathers shimmer in scarlet and smoke gray, each one brushed with a metallic glow, as if the Himalayas decided to paint their own fire, just to feel alive again. But don't let the size fool you. The blood pheasant is a survivor forged by frost. While other birds migrate, this one stays, digging through snow to find roots, berries, and insects. And when the storm hits, they huddle together, feathers puffed, sharing warmth like little glowing embers in a sea of white. There's a local legend that says these birds were once spirits, guardians of fallen warriors. Their red feathers stained by the blood of battle, forever wandering the snows to honor courage and loss. Maybe that's why they move the way they do. Graceful, solemn, yet fierce. Like they remember something the mountains forgot. Fun fact number 1. Despite their dramatic look, blood pheasants are shy, usually found in groups quietly foraging near snow lines around 12,000 feet. Fun fact number 2. They're the state bird of Sikkim, India, and their feathers change hue slightly with the seasons. Deeper red in cold months, softer tones in spring, as if even color bows to temperature. Now here's where it gets fascinating. The blood pheasant doesn't use its color to attract mates or intimidate rivals. It's not vanity, it's visibility. A beacon in the endless white, so members of its flock can find each other through the storm. In a world of isolation, it chooses connection. So tell me, if you lived in a land of blinding snow, would you hide your color to survive? Or wear it boldly, just so no one feels alone in the cold? Because the blood pheasant reminds us, sometimes the brightest flame in winter isn't made of fire, it's made of feathers. Imagine walking through the misty forests of the eastern Himalayas, where every breath hangs like silver smoke, and suddenly, a flash of red fire cuts through the fog. That's the fire-tailed sunbird, the spark that refuses to go out, the little flame that burns even when winter says, not today. This bird is barely bigger than your thumb, but it glows like molten gold dipped in sunset. The male's tail feathers blaze scarlet, its chest glitters with yellow and emerald hues, and when sunlight hits just right, it looks like someone set the air on fire. It flits from flower to flower, drinking nectar in thin mountain air where bees freeze solid. Every wing beat hums like a match being struck, and somehow it keeps going, defying the altitude, the chill, and the endless gray. Locals call it the flame of the forest, and believe it carries the spirit of dawn, a tiny promise that the sun will always return. Because when you see one darting through rhododendrons at 10,000 feet, it feels like hope itself learned to fly. Fun fact number 1, fire-tailed sunbirds can hover like hummingbirds, their heartbeats racing up to 1,000 times per minute just to stay aloft. Fun fact number 2, their curved beaks are perfectly shaped to sip nectar from mountain blossoms, pollinating the very plants that keep the Himalayas alive. In a way, they're the gardeners of the sky. But here's the twist. Beneath all that beauty lies grit. These birds migrate up and down the slopes with the seasons, chasing blooming flowers like nomads of color. They don't fear the cold. They follow it, turning frostbitten peaks into moving fields of fire. So tell me, if you were a spark in a world of ice, would you fade quietly or burn brighter, just to prove you're still here? Because the fire-tailed sunbird doesn't ask permission to shine, it just does. A living ember against the snow, a whisper to the sun. I'm still burning. In the thin blue air of the Tibetan Plateau, where the lakes shine like glass and the mountains touch the gods, there's a sound that feels like prayer, a long, echoing call that rolls across the valley, slow, haunting, and full of life. That's the voice of the black-necked crane, the holy bird of the high Himalayas. Elegant, tall, and almost royal in posture, it walks through the frozen marshes as if every step is a ceremony. Locals say when the cranes return each spring, the gods are pleased, and the whole valley exhales again. Because where the crane dances, life follows. And when they do dance, oh, it's something else. Wings spread, necks arched, they leap and bow, and spin in perfect rhythm, as if the sky itself were their stage. This isn't just mating ritual, it's devotion. It's love written in air currents and silence. In Tibetan Buddhism, they're sacred. Monks believe the crane's long flight connects heaven and earth, and that to harm one is to interrupt a prayer already in motion. They even have legends that say these cranes carry souls from one life to the next, their wings brushing eternity with every beat. Fun fact number 1, black-necked cranes are the only crane species that nest at such high altitudes, over 14,000 feet. Fun fact number 2, they mate for life and return to the same nesting ground year after year, no matter how far they've flown. But here's the twist. The lakes are shrinking. Warming climates and changing farmlands have stolen their sacred space. Every year, fewer cranes return. The silence grows longer. And in that silence, something human echoes back. A reminder of how fragile harmony really is. So tell me, if every song you sang could make the world bloom again, would you stop singing? Or would you dance like the black-necked crane? For love, for faith, for the simple joy of being alive where gods still watch. Because up here, the mountains listen, and the cranes, they still dance. When night falls in the deep forests of Bhutan, the mist curls through the pines like smoke, and the world turns silent, except for one sound, a low, hollow croak that feels too human. That's not a ghost. That's the Hodgson's frogmouth. A bird so strange, it looks like it was built from shadows and secrets. Perched motionless on a branch, it blends into bark so perfectly that even moonlight forgets it's there. Mottled gray feathers, flat head, wide mouth. It's equal parts bird, illusion, and nightmare fuel. You don't see it, you sense it. And when its eyes flash open, gold and cold, it's like the forest itself just blinked. Locals call it the spirit of lost travelers. They say when someone dies in the woods, their soul returns as a frogmouth, watching quietly from the branches, waiting for dawn. And honestly, it fits. This bird doesn't sing, it whispers. It doesn't fly far, it hovers in dreams. Fun fact number 1, Hodgson's frogmouth isn't actually an owl, though everyone mistakes it for one. It belongs to its own family of nocturnal birds with mouths so wide they can snatch moss and beetles midair. Fun fact number 2, when threatened, it doesn't flee. It freezes completely, mimicking a dead branch. If you blink, it vanishes. Literally a magic trick in feathers. But here's the thing. While most birds chase the light, the frogmouth owns the dark. It doesn't fear the night, it becomes it. There's power in stillness, in watching when others rush, in silence that listens back. So tell me, if the world turned its lights off tomorrow, could you still move with purpose? Or would you, like the frogmouth, learn to see beauty in the dark? Because sometimes the quietest souls keep the deepest mysteries. And in the forest of Bhutan, the night itself has a face, and it's watching. Ever stood on a mountain ridge where the wind feels like it could knock the soul out of you? Now imagine living there. Not for a day, not for a climb, but for life. That's the Altai snowcock, the mountain's iron-hearted warrior. You won't find this bird in cozy valleys or quiet forests. It lives where the air bites, where the sky feels too close and too empty, and where sound travels like thunder through stone. When the sun hits its feathers, a mix of gray, white, and faint rust, it disappears into the rock, like the mountain made it, then forgot to take it back. And yet when it moves, you feel it. That booming, echoing call rolling down the cliffs, half song, half battle cry. It's not pretty, but it's the sound of survival carved into air thinner than breath. Fun fact number 1, the Altai snowcock lives at elevations up to 17,000 feet. That's where humans need oxygen tanks just to walk. Fun fact number 2, despite the brutal cold, these birds are incredible runners. When threatened, they sprint uphill over rocks instead of flying, because running burns less energy in thin air. Imagine training for years to climb mountains, and this bird just jogs past you. In Mongolian folklore, the snowcock is said to be the guardian of the wind gates, a bird that keeps the mountains awake by calling to the gods of air. They say when its cry stops echoing, a storm is on the way. But here's the twist. Despite its harsh home, the snowcock isn't brutal. It's balanced. It thrives in solitude but never stops singing. It endures, not out of pride, but because the mountain needs its voice. So tell me, if your whole world were made of stone and storm, would you still sing into the wind, knowing no one might answer back? Because the Altai snowcock does. Every dawn, every dusk, its voice rising through the thin air like a promise, the mountain still breathes. In the high plains of the Andes and Himalayas, where the wind never sleeps and the ground never warms, there's a tiny bird that walks like a shadow, half spirit, half snow. That's the rufous-bellied seed snipe, the ghost of the frozen meadows. You probably wouldn't notice it at first. Its feathers mirror the tundra so perfectly, gray, brown, soft orange. It vanishes into the rocks like breath into cold air. Even its name sounds like a contradiction. Seed snipe, a snipe that doesn't live in swamps and eats seeds instead of insects. It's like nature misread its own notes and decided to roll with it. It lives where no trees grow, feeding on tiny alpine plants that push through frost like whispers of green hope. No fanfare, no song, just quiet endurance. And yet, if you get close enough, you'll see those small eyes watching, steady, patient, timeless, like it's been here since before the ice came. Fun fact number 1, rufous-bellied seed snipes are among the highest living land birds in the world, nesting above 15,000 feet, often beside melting glaciers. Fun fact number 2, their chicks hatch fully feathered and ready to walk almost immediately, because in this cold, hesitation equals death. But here's where the story turns almost poetic. When storms roll over the plateau, these birds don't run or hide. They simply squat low to the ground, matching its color so perfectly that the snow itself seems alive. It's not fear, it's faith in invisibility. A belief that if they become one with the world will let them stay. So here's the question. If survival meant disappearing, would you do it? Would you trade being seen for being alive? Because the rufous-bellied seed snipe doesn't chase beauty or power, it's content to belong, to walk through frost as quietly as memory, and remind the mountains that even ghosts leave footprints in the snow. Some birds fly. The Andean condor rules. It doesn't flap, it doesn't chase, it glides. A living shadow carved into the wind, the Andean condor is the sky made flesh. And when it passes over the peaks of the Andes, you don't just see it, you feel it, like the mountain itself remembered how to breathe. This bird is massive, wings stretching nearly 11 feet across, big enough to cast a moving eclipse over the rocks below. And yet it spends its days soaring without a single beat, riding invisible rivers of air that flow through the mountains. Hours pass, still no flap, just stillness and power in perfect balance. Ancient Incan myth calls it the Apu Kuntur, the spirit that carries souls to the heavens. And you can see why. It lives higher than any raptor, feeding on what the earth leaves behind, turning death into motion, silence into grace. Fun fact number 1, condors can stay aloft for over 5 hours without flapping once. They ride thermals so efficiently, even pilots study their flight patterns. Fun fact number 2, they live for more than 70 years, forming lifelong pairs that return to the same cliffs decade after decade. Loyalty written in altitude. But here's what's really wild. For all its strength, the condor doesn't kill. It waits, it cleans. It restores balance to the mountains, making sure nothing goes to waste. It's not the hunter, it's the judge. And when storms rise, it doesn't fight them. It climbs higher. Because up there, above the chaos, the air is thin, but the view, infinite. So tell me, if you could rise above every storm in your life, would you? Would you trust the wind enough to stop flapping and just let it carry you? Because the Andean condor doesn't fear the fall. It knows the air will always catch it. And that's not luck, that's faith with feathers. Some birds are born with speed, some with color. And then there's one that was born with a sword for a face. Meet the sword-billed hummingbird, the only bird on Earth whose beak is longer than its body. Yeah, longer. You think your life's complicated? Try preening your feathers with a blade sticking out of your mouth. But here's the thing, this absurd design works. While most hummingbirds sip from shallow flowers, the sword-billed hummingbird dives straight into the long, tubular blossoms that no other bird can reach. It's like nature gave it an exclusive backstage pass to the nectar buffet. That beak, impossibly long and curved, isn't a handicap, it's a key to flowers locked away from everyone else. In the misty Andes, you can see it hovering midair, wings beating 80 times a second, that silver sword glinting in the mountain sun. Every move feels like a duel between elegance and physics, and somehow, physics keeps losing. Fun fact number 1, this bird's tongue is so long it coils up inside its skull when not in use, like a measuring tape designed by a maniac. Fun fact number 2, because its beak is too long to preen, it actually uses its feet to scratch its feathers. Imagine trying to comb your hair with your toes. Still makes it work. But here's the twist. This crazy adaptation didn't just help the bird. It shaped entire plant species. Some flowers evolved to match the exact length of its beak, forming a partnership so specific that neither could survive without the other. A sword in its scabbard, perfectly balanced. So tell me, is that evolution or destiny? Because somewhere in those mountains, a bird and a flower decided to rewrite the rules of survival just to keep their love story going. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The sword-billed hummingbird doesn't conquer. It fits flawlessly, impossibly, beautifully into the world that shaped it. A reminder that sometimes what makes you look strange is exactly what makes you belong. You ever wish you could change your outfit with the seasons? Well, meet the ptarmigan, the ultimate master of makeovers. This little mountain bird doesn't just survive winter, it becomes it. In summer, it's mottled brown and gray, blending in with tundra stones and alpine moss. Come winter, it sheds every feather and grows a brand new coat of pure white, head to toe, even the eyelashes. It's like nature's own winter collection, and it's not just fashion, it's genius survival strategy. In the blinding snowfields of the high Himalayas and Arctic peaks, the ptarmigan vanishes completely. Predators look right at it and see nothing but snow. That's not camouflage, that's invisibility. But here's the twist. This bird doesn't just adapt its color, it changes its entire lifestyle with the weather. When the cold hits, it digs tunnels under the snow to sleep in, like a fluffy little miner avoiding the blizzard. When food gets scarce, it switches diets, from bugs and berries to frozen buds and twigs, whatever it takes. You call that evolution? I call that improvisation. Fun fact number 1, ptarmigans have feathered feet, like built-in snowshoes, to walk easily over powder. Fun fact number 2, they can withstand temperatures down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, thanks to a super dense coat that traps warm air like a living down jacket. And here's something beautiful. Indigenous peoples call them snow hens, symbols of purity and transformation. Because when everything around them turns white, they don't fight the cold, they join it. Now that's a thought worth sitting on. In life, when the world changes, you've got 2 choices: cling to the past or molt into something new. So tell me, if your world suddenly froze tomorrow, would you shiver and wait for spring? Or would you do what the ptarmigan does and become the snow? Because this little bird doesn't just blend in, it rewrites the meaning of survival, turning adaptation into art. You know how silence in the snow feels different, like the world's holding its breath? Now imagine something moving through that silence, white on white, soundless, certain. That's the snowy owl, the ghost of the white north, a creature so perfect it could have been sculpted from winter itself. Out on the frozen plains and high ridges, where light bounces off ice like shattered glass, this owl reigns, calm, patient, untouchable. Its feathers aren't just white, they're armor, dense, soft, and layered so thickly it can sleep on ice and never feel the chill. And those eyes, gold and unblinking, they don't just see through darkness, they see through stillness. A single twitch in the snow, a whisper of movement under frost, and it dives, fast, flawless, final. It's hard not to call it magical. Even the Inuit people thought so. They said snowy owls carried messages between worlds, between the living and the spirits. Because when something moves that silently, you start to wonder what else it knows. Fun fact number 1, the snowy owl is one of the few owls that hunts in full daylight. It doesn't wait for night because, in the Arctic, night can last months. Fun fact number 2, females are larger and more heavily marked than males, their darker speckles helping them vanish into the tundra during nesting. In this world, beauty is survival. But here's the twist. When food runs scarce, the snowy owl doesn't cling to its frozen kingdom. It travels hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles south, appearing suddenly in cities, airports, and open fields, as if the winter spirit decided to take a road trip. So tell me, what's more powerful, the one who owns the cold or the one who carries it wherever they go? Because the snowy owl doesn't fear the silence. It is the silence, majestic, untamed, and so breathtakingly still that even the wind forgets to move. If you've ever stood near the top of the world, where air turns thin and thought turns slow, you might have seen a flicker of black wings against the endless white. That flash of red slicing through the wind, that's the red-billed chough, the little daredevil that laughs in the face of Everest. While climbers struggle for every breath, this bird plays in the jet streams, looping and diving around prayer flags like it's showing off for the gods. It doesn't just survive the altitude, it celebrates it. That curved crimson beak gleaming in the sun, those glossy black feathers glowing blue in thin light. The chough looks like fire learning to fly. It feeds where no forest grows, nibbling insects from rocks, snatching crumbs left by mountaineers, and stealing offerings from temple shrines. Cheeky? Absolutely. But maybe that's why monks see it as sacred. A reminder that joy can live even at the edge of heaven. Fun fact number 1, red-billed choughs have been spotted flying at 26,000 feet, higher than most small planes. Fun fact number 2, their wing structure allows them to surf turbulence. They turn deadly wind currents into playgrounds. Talk about making chaos look easy. In Himalayan folklore, the chough is said to carry messages to the gods. When you see one circling the summit, it's believed the mountains are listening. And if you've ever watched it dance with the wind, you might just believe that too. But here's the twist. Unlike eagles or vultures, this bird doesn't command or conquer. It thrives through curiosity, through play, through courage that doesn't need to roar. It reminds us that freedom isn't about height. It's about how you use the air. So tell me, If you stood where the sky begins, would you fight for breath or laugh like the chough and let the wind carry your voice across the clouds? Because up here on Everest's edge, the red-billed chough doesn't fear the fall, it flirts with it and calls it flying. High above the Alps, where stone turns to sky and clouds cling to silence, there's a sound that breaks the stillness, a sharp, joyous whistle that cuts through the cold like sunlight through fog. That's the Alpine Chough, the bird that never left the summit. You'll find them dancing around glaciers and cliffs, black wings shining, yellow bills flashing, spiraling through thin air, as if gravity were just a rumor. They live where the air burns your lungs and storms roar without warning. And yet they laugh, literally. Their calls ring like laughter, a chorus that echoes across the peaks long after they're gone. The Alpine Chough doesn't migrate, doesn't flee, doesn't hide. It stays. It belongs to the high country, to the frozen blue where no tree dares to grow. And when the wind howls, they don't resist. They ride it together, weaving patterns of joy through the emptiness. Fun fact number 1, Alpine Choughs are the highest nesting birds in the world, found at altitudes above 21,000 feet, sometimes even at Everest base camps. Fun fact number 2, they're insanely social, living in colonies that share food, shelter, and warmth, like a family that never argues about who's late for dinner, and that's what makes them different. While eagles rule alone and vultures circle in silence, the Alpine Chough survives by connection. They remind the mountains and us that community is its own kind of strength. In ancient legend, the chough was the voice of the peaks, carrying the songs of the world's first dawn. Some say when the last glacier melts, their cry will be the final echo of the old earth. Maybe that's true, but for now, they're still singing. So tell me, if you could live forever in one place, would you choose comfort in the valley or eternity in the wind? Because the Alpine Chough already answered. It chose the sky, and in its laughter, the mountains remember what joy sounds like. And so, our journey ends where it began, high among clouds and silence, in the kingdom where earth rises to meet the sky. From the jeweled shimmer of the Himalayan Monal to the haunting cry of the Alpine Chough, we've seen what it means to live between worlds. Not above life, but within it. Every wing beat, every call, every shimmer of color was a story about resilience, balance, and grace. Up here, survival isn't a battle. It's a conversation with the wind. These aren't just birds, they are the spirits of the mountains. Teachers of stillness, courage, and change. They remind us that even in the coldest heights, something always sings. So the next time you look up and see a shadow gliding across the clouds, remember this. It's not just flying. It's breathing the same sky that keeps us all alive. Because the Himalayas never stop speaking. And if you listen closely, you'll hear wings in the silence, telling you the mountain still breathes.